Greetings everyone, and Great here for another Age Mythology Replay. As well, on top left side as Blue Odin, we have Kenar Mako. On bottom right side as the Peach Thor, we have Winter. Took me a moment to figure out what color that was. Or was it apricot? Fruity. Either way, it comes to the Mage Gods. Odin's, of course, the Great Hall unit focus. Dwarves and Gatherers hunt 10% faster, get additional favor, a little bit of health regen to help between combat, and 2 Raven Scouts. Of course, he does have an upgrade here to improve the Ulfsark's speed, and of course, give him a bit of bonus damage versus Myth units, making it a little bit more effective there. Thor is a focus on Dwarves and Armory. Starve Dwarves and other Gatherers. Dwarves cost less gold. Gather food and wood nearly as fast as Gatherers. Not as fast, but getting pretty close. But they still retain the good gold mining collection. Dwarven armors can be built and researched in any age. Armory upgrades cost less. Free dwarves per Dwarven armory. Very nice there. And can research 3 additional Dwarven upgrades. And of course, his unique upgrade increases Herseer's damage and favor generation. Let's see, Odin's, of course, the Great Hall unit, so let's talk about how Thor could counter it. He could go for a Foresight, give him access to increase hack armor for its Erdmen, as well as the Berserks, or the Ulfsarks. This increases infantry and hero speed as well, improving that. And you got more trolls to troll your opponent. Healing Spring is a good god power for defensive reasons, to help rejuvenate in between fights. Forest Fire is an okay god power, situational at best. Valkyrie is of course a good mounted healer. And of course you can increase your Valkyries and Cavalry hit points of speed with this upgrade, and your heroes hit points by 10% and enable the goatee early. I think Foresight would be better for Thor to help fight against the Cavalry focus that Odin would probably go for. But that's not necessarily he will go for. Odin of course can go for Freyja since he's more focused on heroes and cavalry. I think Freyja would be a pretty clear option for him. But of course, Heimdall. Heimdall has a very good god power for the 3 minor gods, or 4 minor gods for the Norse. Undermine is an excellent Age 2 god power. Einherji is a bit of a force multiplier, able to buff nearby units. But since H2 is not very exactly healthy, and of course the other upgrades here, improve sentry hit points, not great, wall hit points, it's okay. This stuff is okay. And Hari improves stuff, which is okay. And better training and research rate. It's not really that important until the very late game. So probably Freyja versus Foresight if I has a guess. When it comes to relics on the map, we could see Ori's hunting bow. Villagers gather from hunted animals faster by 5%, not 10%. Tail of Feathers of Heaven. Infantry attacks ignite enemies, dealing damage over time, so you get a bit of bleed damage. Seeing how bad poison and bleed damage is, this is even weaker than all of that, so this is probably not very useful whatsoever. I have no faith in damage over time effects. Hermes weakened sandals improve hero speed by 5%, which is nice. And Text of Immonet. Buildings are constructed 10% faster. Not that important either. So the only thing that's worth a damn is probably Hermes winged sandals and the hunting bow. But even then, it feels like all the relics this game are weak. We do actually have Heimdall being queued on up for Odin, so he's going for something a little bit different. Thor is still going for his copper upgrades. We're going to fast forward through the economic phase. First series being queued on up for Odin as well. So has access to the very fine hunt. And there's a good number of caribou here, so maybe doing that to age 2. It says it is more effective per age. I thought caribou were actually smaller. Caribou actually are pretty small in real life. And Hari Persuade Forward has not super fast movement speed. 15 damage, 15 crush. Some amount of health. Actually pretty good armor rate. So health is a little bit below, but armor is actually fairly high. Valkyrie here, in comparison, has more health, but less armor. So So her 14 damage being reduced by 70% will be approximately 4, but times a 3 multiplier, so roughly 12 damage per strike against Nahari. Well, in comparison, Nahari only has 40% of reduction, so his damage would approximately 9 times 2, so it'd be 18. And of course has a higher attack speed while at it. No, I'm sort of surprised. Maybe Nahari do need a little bit of buff. I think the health may be a little bit too low or something. Maybe up to 300. Because it feels like, compared to the Valkyrie, which has 375 health, which is actually a very good amount of health. Thor's aged on up, of course, to Freyja, which is also the option I was not expecting. So I guess it was wrong both times. Toots his horn. Nope, does not toot his horn. He canceled the toot. And his extra armor did come in handy. Looks like he took about 25 damage across 2 hits. So she probably did 12.5 damage. In return, the Valkyrie did take quite a bit of beating there. The armor did come in handy for the Nahari there. Nope, got a very fine hunt. I'm guessing around here. More units being plotted by Thor, so as holding the Dwarven Mine. Nahari getting some good damage on the Valkyrie. Of course, this is Norse versus Norse, not like you can raid the villagers but in town center. First here, raiding cavalry and Ulsark here. Triple toots his horn there, only gets 1 Herseers. So we now got 2 townsends for Odin. For his next age up, we go for Skadi or Njord. Rocky Woods is a bit of a situational god power. You get a lot of free but cheap siege weapons. Mountain Giant, another siege weapon. Increased giving raiding cavalry a bit of divine damage, and of course gold upon raiding, which is nice to have. And of course Jarls get increased hit points and damage versus myth units. This is more likely the upgrade for a cavalry focus, but he did not go for Freyja, so I'm not sure. He may be going for Skadi instead. We give access to Frost God Power, a pretty good stasis ability. Frost Giant. Huntress Axe to help with the throwing axemen. And Winter Harvest is a pretty good economic upgrade. Plus 20% collection rate for farms, not to mention 10% for all other food sources. That's pretty good. So I'm not sure what Odin's going to be eyeing. For Thor, he can go for Bragi and Skadi. Bragi, of course, does provide fleeing weapons and excellent god power. Battle Boar, a good frontline melee unit. Myth unit. Berserks can increase hit points and favor upon death. Myth unit human speed and better counter damage. If Odin was going for more cavalry focus, Swineray Bragi would probably be a good option, but I don't know what Odin's going for. Maybe Odin is literally going for the not cavalry focus, just to throw off the counter game that Thor may be trying to go for. That could be his reason. If you think your opponent's going to counter you, just don't deploy the unit that's going to be countered. Mini infantry now being researched. It may be a little bit too early. I don't think there's enough military units to really warrant it. It was not gone for medium just yet. Caribou being obtained, medium rare. Both players now have secondary town center now. Raven does spot this deposit there. Actually, nope, does not spot those units. I always forget how little vision actually Raven provides. As a free scout, don't expect too much. We do have actually scouting deployed field, so Odin's going for the opposite I would expect, which is a strategy. Let's see how well it pays out. In this case, we just give ourselves a bit of a refresher. Gives you the throwing axeman upgrade and better food collection research, which is pretty nice. Throwing Axemen is probably be a good idea versus in Norse mirror matchups, since almost all the infantry is infantry. If that makes any poor sense. All the non-cavalry units are infantry, barring the Godi. So 100 stacks is going to be a good call. Thor probably should go for Scotty as well, but Bragi's also a good option. Flaming weapons probably better god power than Frost, but Frost can be very nice. You're sort of, there's a lot of use you can get out of Frost. If you can somehow lock down half your opponent's army of Frost, that means you can pick off the other half without any contention. And he's going for Scotty as well. He could have also gone for, no wait, he couldn't go for New York for cavalry upgrades. He doesn't have access to that. So double Scotty. We are seeing the Rigasthula, I pronounced that. Just twice work rate for all your buildings, which is nice. But not critical unless the very late game we're trying to mass up units. It's probably a good upgrade for the very, very late game. Basic line of stone walls there. He could eye for some early trade caravans. Though his last town center is way down here. This one's not a great path. Yeah, it's probably better to actually have his markers over here and go for this town center. When it comes to Kumquat, we do have... His town center is actually not very well placed as well. Actually, no, this one's in a pretty good corner, so his markers down the corner will actually be very good. More walls going on up. And we actually do have the stone walls, or at least the walls identify as stone walls research. Forward hill fort there, some forward battery rams could be quite nice to help break down these walls. He only has wooden walls. Goes from, this actually is quite a bit of health difference. Goes from 600 health, right now this is at 1400, nearly doubled. Applied upgrades. Safeguard's actually being useful here. Sometimes do have to eat a little bit of crow, or maybe raven. And Odin still has access to the very powerful god power of Undermine. It will instantly kill walls and towers. And of course, that is good against other buildings. Forest fire there to break and make an opening. I'm going to mention there's also this opening. Villagers backing on off. I've heard some heroes. Some Jarls before. There are heavy Jarls. War throwing axemen, thunder hooves, winter harvest. Finding some villagers here, but got some Ulfsarks engaging. I wonder if you promoted some villagers to that. Frost summon. On top of those villagers, when the Jarls escape, Woodwine probably the best target. Of course, but not his season, doesn't matter. Trying to figure out where the rest of Blue's army. Blue only has 53 units in the field, so he doesn't have much of an army. This roughly has the army in the region. 4 Hersiers, 1 Frost Giant, 1 Anhari, 3 Ulfsarks, and 4 Throwing Axemen. Nothing too significant. This is an army, and the questionable orange color is still has access to Frost as opposed to Dwarven Mine. For a pair of long houses here. More throwing axemen, more Jarls. Jarls overall be a good call. Be a good counter to the throwing axemen. Or just not be countered by throwing axemen. Another frost has been summoned here. That's going to be using that time to take on this town center. We got some portal battering rams mixed on in. Frost Giants do have a bit of crush damage to him. Reinforcing Jarls, hitting the heavy raiding cavalry. Town center does go down. Got some old Sarks there. May have been promoted from villagers, not sure. Has some portable batting rams. Frost will last for another 20 seconds. Throwing axemen, max population cap for blue. And looks like these are cavalry falling back. More all Sarks there.
Tilbury.
Blue's not going for another replacing his town center. Blue has 64. Both players have 64 villagers in the field. Though Blue has no protection queue of villagers at the moment. Red's even taking time to steal his opponent's food deposits. Putting these guys up here behind his walls. More Ulf Sarks and throwing axemen being queued on up for apricot flavored. Throwing axemen here, some Ulf Sarks, Herseer, a whole bunch of something. And we do also have the Ha Mask being floated on the field. These units are advancing. If you go off this guy, he can build his own town center. Would that be a good idea? Probably not. Oh, looks like he deletes the longhouse there.
Yow.
These forces push way forward, hitting the temple as well. Good number of Erdmen and Ulf Sarks being queued up for blue. Council up here is being rebuilt. The villager queue has been restored. Blue right now has plenty of wood, some food and gold to work with. The other player has plenty of food and wood to work with. Not too much gold, but enough to work around. Oh, it looks like Blue managed to grab every single relic. That's actually quite impressive. Even though all the relics are not great, as we discussed earlier. Or at least as I proclaimed earlier.
Tilbury.
That's also that bleeding effect. Like almost a fire effect from those throwing axemen. Just got a bit confused by that. Rebuilt the temple there. No Herseer in the region though to pick up those relics. He got some Goatee on the build queue though.
Fair enough.
The turkey-shaped relics now being deposited into the temple. Looks like both players are sharing this gold deposit. This player can easily make that not case. Blue's going to lose a significant amount of villagers. This could be game losing. This many villagers going down. Though this will allow Blue's army to advance forward unimpeded and get a lot of free damage in, but be sacrificing a lot. But his opponent does fuse Frost on that said army as well, allowing the villagers to be picked off freely. They will of course receive a bit of health regen while in this stasis state. And Blue has enough for his own Frost, so You can frost his opponent, allow it to escape, or stick around. He has that option. Blue right now has 56 villagers versus 83. One thing that Blue could do is stasis half the army, because that's going to be very easy to do, and let the other half get picked off. Probably stasis this half and then pick off this one. Is that what I'm going to do? Nope, he does not do. He does do that. Oh, and it looks like a lot of these guys actually did get hit. I always forget how large that radius is. You guys need to target a bit more down here. Oh, he's going to build some walls there. His villagers trying to get on through to that gold deposit. The Ox Guard does get the gate there. He retasks the civilians to it. He's trying to wall in those forces as well. Oh boy, I'm getting hit by some pretty sizable lag spikes. Four, 3, 2, 1. Stop building.
Skip.
Traps the army there. He has some walls to walk around with his ranged units. There's a good number of raiding cavalry to stop those ranged units from existing. I think Blue's army will come out ahead. Blue's able to collect that gold. Blue looks like will win the fight, but won't be a perfect win. A number of villagers advance the way forward for some odd reason. Ballistics now being researched by Blue. Which, I don't know why would you go for ballistics when you have the Huntress Axe. Does this improve your tracking rate to 99? This will of course improve the tracking rate quite a bit, but I suppose it's meant for the goatee. Like, you don't really need, now think about it, you don't really need ballistics when you have the Huntress Axe, primarily. The goatee's more meant to be a counter myth unit. It doesn't, and using these big fights, you're not really missing. So I don't think that upgrade was actually really necessary. He's going for a large number of the Jarls and raiding cavalry. He has, of course, the heavy Jarls and raiding cavalry. Bronze upgrades being researched by Blue. You don't really need the pierced armor. You can skip out the bronze shields as well as the iron shields. This one is going for iron weapons. Wait. Oh yeah, you can get them in age earlier, right? I forgot about that part. I'm a bit confused, like, wait, how is he getting iron weapons? It's an age 4 upgrade, but nope, he's Thor. You can get them out in age earlier. We got some levies being researched since he's at max up population. That's a good time for it. Definitely combine last replay tonight. My voice is starting to go out. 101 civilians. Wonder how that happened. Guess maybe a dwarf and gather got deployed at the same time. Exploit! Sorry. You now have a potential age up of Balder to give access to the Fire Giant as well as Ragnarok. Some of these villagers are a little bit idle there and a little bit dead. Raiding cavalry and Jarls getting some great damage here. Blue's not really properly responding. Does have the gate here to give him some cover. I hear stuff exploding or being stabbed repeatedly by a big pointy stick. More throwing X-Men by Blue. This one is going for good number of cavalry, so it's probably going to slow down the cavalry or throwing axe deployment. Erdman, however, still be a good idea. Does take out that villager there, and that villager there. Erdman now being employed in the field in large numbers by Blue. Also for going for crenellations, very nice. Balls do go on down. A good number of Erdmen here. More Jarls, more raiding cavalry, more throwing axemans. Erdmen now engaging. Got some throwing axemen to hit them though. But looks like they're hitting the gate. Dwarven gold mine still available. Keep hold on that.
Yo.
Let's push forward a good number of throwing axemen here. We'll just gently move it over here and let the Erdmen come for our flank. But he does have fighting position of cavalry here. The gate has been destroyed. I do have now Tyre being researched. Give access to Fenris, Fimbulwinter and Fenris Wolf Brood. Cavalry being picked apart, dancing around from throwing axes is not great, and we got all the Erdmen getting a lot of free damage there. More Jarls, more throwing axes being queued on up with more raiding cavalry. And do now have Balder now being researched. Which of course give access to Ragnarok. One thing I would say before it goes for Ragnarok, make sure he has some ox carts at least to deploy in the field. Those don't get turned to heroes. At least get some economy going. We got some more research here. We got the Dwarven Weapon Research line. Well, thanks to Heimdall, it looks like Baldur is being researched quicker. It looks like the age up will complete at roughly the same time. Blue may be just trying to save up and wait for a Ragnarok to push his opponent. He has a good number of villagers here, so it would be quite significant this direction. Going some long houses now. Both players now aged on up. Fimbulwinter has been summoned. Exotic Dog goes over here. Some villagers getting picked off over here. Do you have the Fire Giant? A very good myth unit. Champion Infantry now being researched by Blue. Blue's economy is basically at a standstill due to the Fimbulwinter. Just simply hit the town bell everywhere and just wait out the storm. Wait out winter. Town center here will be going on down. Big line longhouses tend to be queued on up. Ready to rebuild that town center now. Good number of markets there. Looks like he's going to try... It's not a great spot there, but it is a spot. He does have some stone walls here, protection as well. Here's some ox carts. Towns that are rebuilt. At 260, since this one has 4 town centers, while blue only has the 2. So South does have. How is up to 104 civilians? How is up at 105? That number is creeping out. That must be a bug there. I can understand 101, but how did 105 came about? Let's see, dwarf here. 105 out of 100, so he does have extra ones somehow. Not sure how he managed that. When it comes to these ox caravans, they do use a different build limit. Maybe they should, to balance out the economies. One thing I sort of wish is they make all the civilian units cost 0 population. And then maybe share the same build limit for the caravans and the villagers as a possibility. Yeah, just sort of just suggestions. Can't say how that will turn out though. We got undermine here. Undermine the infrastructure, the integrity of the hill fort. Rainy cavalry push way forward. Frost by blue here, locking down half of South's army. Blue's army needs time to reinforce. He has no reinforcements queued up. Going for some portal battery rams now. He's actually low in gold, which is a bit of a problem. Oh, I wonder why he's going for ox caravans now. His opponent has plenty of resources. He could go for a Titan Gate now. What is it? 800, 800, 800, and then 50, right? Yes. So you can't go for a Titan Gate. He also has the Ox Caravans queued up himself. We got a large number of Berserks now queued on up. Dennis Wolfbrood got picked off there. Throwing Axeman getting hit quite a bit. Ox Corps providing 44. Then there's Ragnarok. Ragnarok and roll. Let's see, 445. So not too over pop cap. This Ragnarok seemed a little bit more on the desperate side. Does have a number of Ox Caravans. He's actually out of gold. That's probably why he went for Ragnarok. He only has to rely on the Ox Caravans for gold income. Here's Ragnarok, or like Herseers, but just a little bit weaker actually. Throwing Axeman here. Here's a Ragnarok, or classified troops, so throwing Axeman does do bonus damage to them, and they don't provide favor generation like Herseers. But they are, I believe they are a little bit faster. That could be just because of the relics he has. More villagers being queued on up. He's actually below max population. He's going to run out of steam pretty quickly. His opponent just needs to wait out the storm. You can actually bring in another Frost there to help wait out the storm. His Ox Caravan's currently providing 103. Another Undermine being summoned. Go miss those walls. Go hit this watchtower there.
Yo!
Luce has a good army on the field. Going for more throwing Axemans. Mace off a bit of wood. He's also stopped his civilian queue. So he's going all in. Dancing around with throwing Axeman, very nice. Oh, and Blue does back of the game. His opponent did not have any production queue going. He was at pop cap, but still, Blue realized he's just running too much out of steam. This and great. So thank you for watching, and on to the next replay.